Hello there folks, Marshall here. Season 5 is over, and now it's time for Planetary Annihilation's ranked 1v1 Season 6. A usual reminder that if you haven't already, be sure to check out the Community Discord and the Academy Discord. You'll find the active player base in the former. For those who really want to up their game, tutors can be found in the latter. Let's waste no time in getting straight to the map overviews. This time, let's have a look at the new maps being introduced before going over the returning maps. Starting with Molten Fortress, visit a large lava map with wide open paths between bases and some metal locations which are tricky to lock down early game. Don't forget the narrow corridors, choke points, or the island on the other side of the planet. Basin starts you on the coast, and you must balance naval battles with that on the land. But do not underestimate the importance of the seas here. Meanwhile, there is a significant amount of resources up for grabs nearer the equator. But a lot of the central concentration of metal deposits can be covered from ranged ships at sea. Shoulder. There's a lot of metal near to your start. Shame it's on the other side of a mountain range. Don't get too comfy in your spawn. Take as much metal as you can and watch the raid potential of the rear mechs compared to the metal pushes from your opponent. Superbowl, a simplistic asteroid. Not a lot between the bases apart from a large crater or a couple of choke points. Balance defense on this front and frantic scraps on the reverse of the planet, as there are a lot of metal on these shallow platforms. Consider all approaches and options if you reach a stalemate. Oh, and it has a gas giant as well. Tropics starts you in a mountainous enclave surrounded by trees and close metal expansions, but slightly reduced metal with your starting circle. Further out, you may come across a few lakes which you can exploit to great effect. Only the one long lake has neighbouring metal which can be defended from the land. Friction is a little bit of a different map. Spawning deceptively close, you could imagine throwing a bot over the lava ravine between you and your opponent. Otherwise, you may be inclined to expand sideways or to your rear. All paths lead to the very open rear of this planet. Watch out for later game artillery. Don't get surprised and keep your intel game up. Pier. The second of our maps with a fair portion of the map covered in water. Even so, there is a sizable island that you spawn on, and you can choose right from the outset whether to go naval straight away or get a beachhead first. Watch all entrances to your pier. Finally, we have Alloy. Look at the size of that spawn. Do you choose to start at the polar extreme with a guaranteed metal cluster, or do you spawn at the ring of metal with harder initial metal expansion but potentially closer to a desirable map feature? Make sure you scout early to know what your opponent has opted for so you can plan accordingly. Now to the returning maps. Going through from most recently to earliest, we start with the orbital map from Season 5, Fulcrum. Fundamentally changing how you approach your 1v1, you start on opposite moons of a larger central planet with many viable landing spots. Do you rush the main planet, or that of your opponent? Fractured Islands is the returning oceanic map from Season 5. Very large map with a number of colonizable islands, challenges players to balance naval power in many interconnecting aquatic corridors. Canals, also featured in Season 5, features an open temple between bases and expansions that take the player wide away from that temple. Lots of resources can be controlled by the canals, so make sure you do not neglect the tug of war on that side of the planet, nor surprise attacks through the temple. Ribbon returns, sporting 3 identical spawns with a radially symmetrical planet and a gas giant. Make sure to scout constantly, raid fast and hard, expand and re-expand when yours are lost, and cover all avenues of attack and control the battlefield for a tactical challenge. Surface. a wide and open moon with a number of craters littering the landscape. Make sure to use this as efficiently as possible when attacking and defending alike. I hear the bots are a good way to go early on this map for control, but keep an eye on your opponent's build. Maginot is back, much like Ribbon in the starting position, but with only a single spawn circle which has grown somewhat. You can now spawn a little away from the centre of your fort towards a corner expansion if you wish for an early forward position. Again, every route to your opponent is identical, so keep scouting and keep the pressure on. We've got to have a dual spawn map in there. Disparity returns, posing players with a choice. Do you spawn close to your opponent for the chance of a frantic land confrontation, or spawn far for a chance for an air and naval focused game? But what will you do if you don't go the same way as your enemy? And the final returning map, Rock, featured all the way back in Season 1, is an interesting moon with an open spawn and expansions in all directions. Be sure to contest all points on this map, from the closest approaches to the wings and even the platform furthest from your base. That's it for this coming season. I hope you enjoy the new and returning maps. Oh, and for those of you in the last season who liked the lower metal variant of Gargantuan, we've added that to the list of maps in the PA tab, with the higher metal version indicated with an LE for Ladder Edition. Until next time, that's all from me, though keep an eye on this channel. I've got a few things in the pipeline which will definitely be of interest to you.